filmmaker, writer, director Kyle Rankin. He has a film in production as we speak, and he reached out to ask if I could build him a couple explosive devices, props, replicas. And that sounds like a really fun gig. I haven't made a real thing for a real movie in a couple years. One way we know this is a real job for a real movie is that they need it right away. Depending on how I ship this across the country, which seems to me like it could be problematic, but his prop master assures me it can be done. But I likely have 2 to 3 days to make these things, and I'm only one person, but a friend of mine in town has a shop that is a fake bomb-making paradise. So I'm not enlisting his help, but I'm enlisting the help of his shop, and day one will be spent over there. Much to do. Let's go. So settled in here for at least the day. I have this place to myself. A big part of the dynamic today is finding things I need in this shop that isn't mine. While I wait for a call from our director to get some more specifics, something I can safely do is build blasting caps. Those won't be changed by any art direction. So, aluminum tube and interesting looking wire. These racks are from the ILM model shop. I remember well meeting them in 1996. 5/16. Maybe we should just do 1/4 inch. Balls and lenses. Yellow would be swell. That's pretty. All right. A little big, maybe a little too busy. Black and red will look good with the orange. Kyle Rankin.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Well, thanks for doing this, Dave. I'm so excited.
I'm sitting here with a bunch of aluminum stock and random electronics in front of me.
Yes.
Good times. Do you want to communicate that this guy really knows how to make a bomb and this is a tidy pro thing?
Great question. I do say that he did a couple of years of electrical engineering.
Put together from stuff he could find, but put together well.
Yes, exactly. I like that.
You want some light action on this thing?
Yeah, always great for camera. Things can have some kind of illumination.
That gets me started.
All right, David, thanks so
Good
much.
luck with everything. You bet.
Thank you. The absurd level of electrical supplies in this shop delivered just as I'd hoped. What's not to love?
Well, it's nice meeting you, and thank you for not blowing me up.
You bet. See you around. Back to the home front. This step takes me right back to ILM modeling days. I received from production this image. My prop is going to live behind that yellow door. This is all I've got to work from. From the manufacturer's notes, I got overall dimensions. Now I have to do some math to find out what that opening is. Oh, wrong. Math. Our opening is 13.96, 11.6. That's a human hand, and that's supposed to be about 12 inches. That looks about right. All right. Essentially 11.5 inches by 14 inches. Like so, to the outside of the tape. And here is my plastique possible dimensions. There's a little one and a big one.
Well, this might be good. Can't quite. Small one. Tight. 4. 1, 2. Something. It'll work.
Knowing the size of these explosive packs, the look of them is something I've been going around in circles on. It's important to think about something like this within the framework of what the camera is going to see in context. And I think to myself, the camera's going to see the flashing lights. You'll get a feel for something electronic going on. After that, it's all about the character of these plastique explosive packs. Therefore, their hue becomes important, and Kyle reasonably liked the idea of making them orange. From there, I figure it's the graphic that will repeat and the surface character of these objects. They'll be more or less reflective depending on the packaging I put them in, and I'm thinking that irregularity in the surface of these objects will be important. So with all that in mind, I'm then a little stumped about how to make them. With my limited supplies here in the studio, I'm going to try making boxes out of cardboard. And I do have a big supply of clay. I may roll out thin sheets of clay and actually surface them in clay. The texture of that would be appropriate. Then it'll be a matter of experimenting with plastic and or translucent paper wrap. The character of it is great. I suppose using the real thing has its benefits. I'm going to reasonably, I think, take one of these to completion. Proof of concept and all. Edges have a good organic random breakup to them. I'm gonna let that harden, try to paint it. There we are, fresh out of the freezer. Also getting ready for the labels. And while these labels shouldn't necessarily look antiqued, to leave them white printer paper would not be a win. As a general rule, items on film read cleaner than they do in person. Using the old coffee trick, I made an Americano that was far too thin. I've added a double espresso. Present day Semtech H labels are very sterile and technical with lots of fine print and aren't the way to go for a dramatic feature film. So I cooked this up. Into the coffee pool, kids. The orange paint is going to take a while to be hard enough to work with. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more bricks to make, assemble this big one, and then with 1 extra brick, make a small version for another demand in the script. And it's 1:20. Want to mail this tomorrow. I'm going to make 4 more clay bricks. Yep. Status update. I've made 4 more cardboard boxes. The challenge at the moment is with this. The orange paint is going to be tacky for the next 2 days. I'm going to have to put this together with tacky paint. I'll place the label, I'll place the plastic, I'll wrap it, and there's no going back because it's all going to stick. Shall we? Label on. Ugh. Here we go. I'm happy. All right, proceeding on. 7 o'clock. I have 5 bricks. I remade the labels. Version 1, not enough contrast. All is well, except weirdness is happening with the paint under this plastic in brick number 1. The orange paint simply isn't hardening. Primer's on these, and I'm going to let it sit overnight in a warm room. This one that is primed and painted orange, I'll leave in a really warm spot and see if that paint hardens. So I'll drag out the painting process and finish electronics while I'm at it, but that can happen tomorrow morning. Welcome to the Cinodrome, a Cinodrome subsidiary dedicated to spreading the word about human, a distinction that is weirdly and increasingly necessary, human labor and creativity. I put in considerable effort, obviously, in telling stories about my labor effectively. It's therefore not surprising that the other folks on this platform that command my attention are folks who tell their stories well. Wesley Treat. He is masterful at communicating to camera, which is not easy. His visual storytelling style is clear and consistent. His designs and builds are high quality and fun, and he's funny. I link to a video of his in which he builds a replica of a sideshow thingy. Replicas and props being the theme of the week. Check it out. Show him some love. Everybody, thank you. Remember that time when I was racing to finish a film prop and working as fast as I possibly could and making lots of compromises? I had the dates wrong. Doesn't need to be in South Carolina this Wednesday. It's the following Wednesday. So relax, everybody. We've got time. It's Sunday now. I took a day. I put coats of paint on these and gave them plenty of time. And they are crispy. I'm now going to, in a calm and reasonable way, put together another one of these and see if I can't find a formula for a hero piece. Ta-da! I don't think there's any question that this needs a second light and a mechanical switch. It's just self-evident. Home stretch. I think bundle up these wires in a kind of organized but kind of chaotic way. Something like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and try this. Now for what the script calls a baby bomb. I've got the pieces, I'll assemble, and we can move on to figuring out how to ship this. It's director approval time. Let me send these videos. So, shipping. I called ahead. I received instructions on what to write on the box, in what font size. I walked it down to the shipping place. A different person helped me there, and again, understandably, she was a little concerned about this little project, and the conversation was a little weird. Reluctantly, she took the package, but called me a few hours later. Hello, Dave here. She reached out to their hazmat team department. They advised her to cover the text I had written on the box, open the box, and include a document which I wrote for her and signed stating what this was. She then repackaged it in ways I never even saw, and in theory, sent it on its way. Will it make it? We can hope. Stay tuned for future installments. If the box is destroyed by the fake explosive control teams, let's take a moment to admire my work one last time. Briefly, things I dislike. Advertising, branding, manipulative subscription services, addictive algorithmic media. It is therefore damn tricky to do what I'm doing without contributing to the problem. My hope and plan is that this channel will remain ad and sponsor free, not counting the ads that run before the videos because YouTube runs them whether I turn them on or not. What I'm increasingly leaning into as a business model I can live with is to rely on members who I can believe are getting value from my work. I'm now creating as much members-only media as I am public media. And if you are interested in investigating what's available and supporting this channel, follow the links provided in this video's description down there, which will take you to YouTube and/or Patreon membership offerings. Oh, and special thanks to these folks.